Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. I think I know all of you except for Cedra. I don't know you. So hi, welcome. Thanks. Where are you? Where are you from?
I'm in the cusp.
Okay, great. Okay. Well,
Tiny little club. I doubt I'm ever going to need to use Club Locker, but I figured I might as well find out what it's about.
You might as well. Yeah. And you might, I think you might find some of it useful, but that's up for you to decide. Hopefully we'll give you enough information. So as everybody else knows, I am a Squash BC volunteer, and so I don't actually work for Club Locker or for Squash BC. So there may be some questions I can't answer, and Rebecca and Jenna may be able to answer some that I can't. Any that together, we'll just take them back to Club Locker if there's some product questions that we're unable to answer. So what I'm going to go through today is just a quick overview of what Club Locker is all about, what the benefits are and why we're transitioning to it, and the fee structure. We'll go through sort of high-level rollout plan, like how Squash BC is rolling it out within itself and to clubs and individual members. I will give you a high-level demonstration of all the components, membership management and the communications, court reservations, organized play, which is boxes and ladders. And I'm just going to touch on tournaments. I'm not going to go into that in any major detail. You'll see just a few features. It's sort of one of those things that's kind of hard. It takes a long time to really start from beginning to end. So there'll be additional, more in-depth trainings on tournaments and on the reservation system, because there's a lot to that as well. But this will at least give you an overview of many of the key features. So the objective is, of course, that you'll be thinking about, your own transition plan, whatever it may be, and it's expected that you may just be using a couple of components like the boxes and ladders features and the leagues, or some clubs are transitioning completely, like using the reservation system, and everybody will be using it to some extent. Anybody who participates in tournaments will be seeing it and using it. That's the Squash BC sanctioned tournaments, I should say. And then we'll have a Q&A. So just again, why are we doing this? Or sorry, what is it? It's a rankings and membership system. It replaces Sporty HQ. Our relationship with Sporty HQ has been a fantastic one over the last many years. So this is in no way a move away from Sporty HQ. They've been incredibly supportive throughout the transition. But the rest of Canada has moved to Club Locker, and so it is time for us to do so. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. So it consists of, our project is a Squash BC membership. The whole management and the website will be transitioning to a Club Locker platform over the summer. Club Locker rating system will replace the Sporty HQ ranking point system. For those of you who have competitive juniors, there's actually a separate Canadian junior ranking system. So juniors will get ratings, but there will also be a separate junior ranking system, which is outside of the scope of Club Locker. All of Squash BC sanctioned interclub leagues will be on Club Locker and Squash BC sanctioned tournaments. And the focus of today is it's going to be available to all Squash BC member clubs for membership management, your communications, like your emails, in-house leagues, in-house boxes and ladders, tournaments, and the court reservation system. And of course, well aware that many of you have your own court reservation system, will never move to this, and membership management, but those components are available to those clubs who wish to use them. So the big benefit is that we will now have standardized rating that's comparable to other players across Canada and the US. And as you'll see in my demonstration, the rating system is basically between the maximum you can have is 7.0. So a pro level, best player in the world, is a 7.0. And I think everybody starts at 1.5 or something like that. So there's not a lot of, it's not like what we're used to with the Sporty HQ points where you go to 1400, 1500. The point is that if I'm a 3.57 and I move or I go to Toronto someday soon, sounds like, to play, I can find other 3.57 players, they don't have to be 3.57, 3.5 players that are going to be approximately the same as me. And that it's a more meaningful system international, or certainly North America wide. Squash BC club members will receive access to the full suite of software, of Club Locker software services by virtue of our contract with Squash Canada. So Squash Canada is contracting to Squash BC, and we're making it available to all our clubs at almost no charge. There are software costs to use the reservation system, and because it's a lot more support intense heavy. So it's a $500 setup fee one time, and then $125 a month. And that actually includes support direct from Club Locker. Other than that, the software is free except for transaction fees. So on any financial monetary transaction that goes through Club Locker, they take a 2.5% fee. And then there's a Stripe, which is their online payment system fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents. Now, if you chose to use your membership system through, as an example, through you chose to use it, you actually don't have to run the transactions through Club Locker. Now, there's a point at which everybody's doing it and they're not getting any fees. There's some sort of balancing, but certainly if you're a small club and you don't want to use their online fee payment system, for whatever reason, you have your own, or you don't want to pay the 2.5%, you don't have to, right? I mean, ditto, as you'll see, you can actually run, if there's a fee for signing up for a box and ladders, they certainly don't have to go through the system. And I see, Heather, I know you're on the call, and so obviously those go on, for Van Lawn, they go on your club payment, your club account. So you're not forced in any way to run transactions through Club Locker, but certainly any Squash BC sanctioned leagues, the sign up will be through Club Locker, as will all the tournaments. So they'll be getting their transaction fee in that way. In terms of a rollout plan, in June, which is where we are, we're doing these initial Zoom sessions. This is our third, and just with the club pros and management, so that everybody sort of can get a sense of what it is and what this project's going to look like. We will very soon, might not make it out in June, but there will be a member email to all the individual members now that all the clubs have been informed about what that we're transitioning, and that we have to also get permission to have their profile data available on the new platform. We are starting the process right now of migrating all the data into Club Locker. In fact, most individuals today, as you're going to see in the demo, have club profile data. Anybody who's been playing leagues and tournaments already have ratings. And because we've been feeding results into Club Locker for quite some time in order to support national rankings and team selection and all of that, so that our players haven't been disadvantaged in any way. But most of those profiles many of those profiles aren't up to date, and there's data problems. You're going to see them momentarily when we get into the system. So we're cleaning all that up and doing that right now, or we started now, we'll be done by July. We're going to be doing more in-depth training than this. The tournament calendar will be entered hopefully by July. And, we're getting prepared to support all the fall leagues. We'll be in Club Locker, so we're starting that in July, and by August they'll all be ready to go. We expect to be running the first tournament, when that first tournament happens, in Club Locker. So this is all happening with our usual skeleton group of people at Squash BC, which is Rebecca, Josh, and Jenna in the summer, but we don't have Jenna for too long. So but the first line of support will be Squash BC, and I'll be there as well to help. And as I've already said, clubs using and paying for reservation system will get support from Club Locker. We plan to put together a BC tournament support team. So for like a team of people who can support tournament directors, so that because as we all know, tournament support is like, you need the answer now, like it's midnight, you're doing the draw and you're posting it, and you don't have time to wait. So we're hoping to get sort of a 24/7 support for the tournament directors, at least in the first year. It'll be all of us, maybe some of you, but that's how we're going to do that. And similarly, a cohort support team for clubs and pros. And there may be weekly Zoom sessions like this to answer questions and feedback. So I am going to go into the demo, but before I do, are there any questions about anything I have said thus far? No? Good. All right. Okay, then just give me a second. It's web-based, and let me share the right screen.
Kathy, it's Andrew Lynn. I think I might have a question. If a facility like ours chooses not to use the Club Locker court reservation system, what I am currently paying for with Sporty HQ also gives me the ability to run some of our club events and leagues and things like that through Sporty HQ. Is there any requirement to be running, say, an in-house club tournament in Club Locker, or is there any advantage from Squash BC's point of view? In the past, those events could have ranking potential. So that's just a question that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really good question. And that would be the reason why you would run them through. Because then it would have rating, so the sport, I mean, that sort of leads to a bigger conversation. Club Locker's philosophy is that every game should be recorded, and to make the rating system as good and robust as possible. And you don't see these big wide swings that we're used to Sporty HQ, but the more data, the better. So they would like, so the reason to be running your in-house tournament would be to have all those ratings and all the results being recorded there, right? So that would be the reason, and that would be the reason to be running your boxes and your ladders, right? And it's free. And you don't have to. Well, I mean, that's not true. I guess if it's a BC sanctioned, you may have to be, like, I don't know if we've got our policies on that one, actually, if we're going to force, certainly your club tournament, you do not have to run those transactions through, right? Yeah. For Squash BC sanctioned, I suspect we're going to make it a policy that you do, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay, that helps, thanks.
Yeah, but I don't know why you wouldn't run because it's free, right? The boxes and the ladders and all that stuff. But you may have some other reasons that I don't know about that. And you're not required to. Okay, does that answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions along those lines before I get into the software? Am I sharing? I'm not sharing the right thing yet, am I?
No, we're still on your PowerPoint.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting to my Zoom. Making this full screen. What's wrong with me? All right. Oh, here we go. Should be right
Yeah,
now.
you've got it now. Thanks, Kathy.
Alrighty. So I have now logged into, this is actually Squash Canada's live system. And I've logged in as myself, though I have superpowers. So this is not what a normal player would see. I've got full admin rights for all clubs. But at the moment, I'm just logged in as Kathy Brown of, as a member of Squash Canada. And you can see here that I've got different affiliations. So I'm affiliated with Squash Canada, Squash BC, Evergreen, and Vancouver Lawn I'm a member of. Right here you see a data problem that there's 2 Vancouver Lawn tennis clubs. Half of the members are in one and half of the other are in the other. That's just the way things have evolved as we've been feeding results. It's the type of thing we're cleaning up. So there we go. I can go and look at my profile, which is like my personal profile. And so this is what all individual members would see, your personal details. So this is just what I would see about myself, my past events. So you see that lots of matches, like even including some doubles matches, have been fed into the system from Sporty HQ over the last couple of years. You can see any leagues I'm participating in, my affiliations, my rankings, a little graph showing my wins. I never seem to win singles in 5 games, which is not surprising given my fitness level. So doubles wins and doubles losses, nice little graphs, my ratings, which haven't changed because we don't play. We haven't been playing. It also shows my, lumber people asked last week about communications preferences. This is where I set my communications preferences. Do I want to receive marketing communications from these organizations? And then once I'm a member of a league or actually of a club, then there's different settings at the club level. We're going to be, when we do migrate, if people say that they are going to make their profile available, then we will bring everybody in as receiving communications, and our email will tell them that they need to opt out if they don't want to see them. So I'm now going to change and go to change a hat here and pretend that I'm an administrator of Evergreen Squash Club. So I'm now, yeah, exactly that. So I'm out of being Kathy Brown, the player, and I'm into Kathy Brown being an administrator. So this will give me the opportunity to just look at a few of the capabilities of the software and what you can do and the flexibility to set different things up. So one of the, let's just sort of jump. Well, the first thing is I have to actually jump to an old administrative system. Now, this is kind of weird. This is not long-term. Soon, what you're looking at right now is going to be the Club Locker user interface. You'll have some ability to tailor it. Obviously, the Evergreen Squash Club logo would be here, and there's some limited ability to change the background and the color scheme, but it's fairly limited. But right now, some of the functionality is still sticking in their old user interface, which looks very US squashish. But I have to go here to show you some of the features. So let's just take a quick little look at some of the membership capabilities. I mean, obviously to add a member manually, again, doesn't have to go through the electronic payment system. I just type them in, not going to do that. And click add. This is a list of all of the members at Evergreen, and it has features, like the ability to sort by column header. So for example, if I wanted to sort by singles ratings, I just click on the column header where it says singles, and I click once and it probably will start with all the blanks. I click again and it goes descending. So I now see all the players in order of their ratings from top to bottom. If I wanted to sort alphabetical, I click on the last name and the A's come up first. If I wanted to find somebody quickly in this list, I just type in here. So for example, if I want to find myself, because I'm a member here, I type Kathy, and I guess there's only 2 Kathys, which is unbelievable at Evergreen, Kathy Covington and myself. So then I found my record there. There is ability to import for techies around you. We can export the list into CSV or Excel files. We can import, if you've got all your members in a spreadsheet or something, you can upload them, or you've got new members, you can upload them in through an import template. So that all works actually pretty well. There's also some reports, which I'm going to show you after I go through the reservations.
Kathy,
Yeah,
why don't you have a doubles rating?
good question. Because that's really what I play a lot more. Because the doubles results have not been fed in consistently. You saw a few, but it just hasn't really clicked in. And those results that you did see, Andrew, actually were all mixed results. So it wouldn't take my rating, unlike Sporty, where it sort of gave you points for mixed, it's a doubles rating. And so anyways, long story short, there's not really any results in here. And there is the odd result, and it's wrong. So doubles is I mean, you'll see, for example, Thomas. I mean, actually, let's find Thomas just for fun. I picked on him in another one. As we all know, Thomas is a fantastic doubles player, and he's got almost the lowest possible rating in doubles. So it's just plain wrong at the moment. We haven't decided yet what we're going to do about doubles, if we're just going to start from scratch and build it up, or try and load in some historical results. That's an outstanding decision.
Okay.
Please, any other questions, please do feel free to ask me questions at any time. Okay, communications capability, average. It just lets you email. It enable you to email. So this is your membership, and this is people who have opted in for communications, obviously. You can filter by age, so you can do a filter, junior and adults. I think that's the extent of the age filter, and you can filter by gender. There, you might see over time some slight improvements in this area. Like maybe by membership type, for example, I think is the one that asked the most common, like just send it to doubles members or to, full members or whatever. It's not an area of focus for Club Locker. They tend to sort of be of the opinion that many of the larger clubs, at least in the US, they have like MailChimp and other systems that they're using for communications. We've been trying to tell them that we have small clubs who might use it for communications, but anyways, so they sort of think, oh, you should be using another system for emails. But we're hoping that they beef up the communications a little bit over time, but not promising. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to reservations now, unless there's any other questions about memberships and email capabilities. Okay, so reservations. First of all, we go to the reservation system, and you can see that I've actually set this up for Evergreen, who do not use Club Locker. They use Sporty HQ for reservations right now, but I think they're going to transition. So I've set this up for them. I don't know why I've got Court 5 not starting till 9 o'clock in the morning, but that's actually something I could edit, and I'll do that. You will notice that one thing you might notice is that they've got flexible time slots. So for Court 5, actually all the courts, it looks like, once we hit prime time, we go to 45-minute time slots, whereas we can also have hour time slots. So you can make flexible time slots at different times for different courts. So you got that flexibility. It's pretty easy to set up. Just starting and showing you some of the setup capabilities, the first thing you would do is actually define what sports. So if you were wanting to use this to schedule fitness equipment, or I don't know, volleyball courts or something like that, you could do that, and people do that, pickleball, whatever it is. So you define your sport. I won't do that. My 2 sports are defined. And then you go and you set up your courts. So let's go in and add Evergreen's doubles court. So I just say, what's the sport? Give it the name, which we'll call it doubles court. Oops. All genders. We're going to make them hour slots. Say it starts at 6, ends at 8. It's fine. Doubles never ends at 8. Let's make it 10. And I'm not going to show you the different slots, but it just takes time, but it's easy for sure. And go ahead. And so now I've created my doubles court and it's available here. Now, if I go in and I get more capabilities, oddly enough, when I go in and edit. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to go in and do edit court 5. And you see here where I've got my different slots set up. And this is where, when I'm editing, I can go in and create a prime time. So if I want to say on Monday between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., that's a prime time. It looks like, so far from what I've figured out on my own, I have to do that day by day. Those different, setting up the different 45 and 60 minutes, I could carry them forward. But anyways, it's a one-time thing. You can restrict number of guests in a prime time slot to say no guests allowed in prime time. And here you've got quite a bit of different a little bit of flexibility in terms of the time slots and making it completely flexible. So somebody can book 10 minutes and somebody else can then book 15 minutes. And frankly, I'm not entirely sure how that all works. But you get the idea here. So now when I go back to my reservations, oh, did I not change court 5? I thought I changed court 5. Change court 5 to start at 6 a.m. I guess I didn't do it. No, well, that didn't work. Oh, well, I don't know why that didn't work. Bad demo, but obviously you can see.
I think you said, did you not say that you have to make changes to each day at a time?
Oh.
So perhaps you've only
maybe.
changed it for Monday.
Yeah, maybe, but that should be universal, the start time, but oops. I'll give it one more shot and then I'll give up. I know it does it, so. Okay, let's try one more time. Oh yeah, I guess once you've set up slots, you have to do day by day. Huh. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so meaning if I went to, what day is today? Wednesday. I guess it was on a Monday. Is Monday going to be? Huh. I don't quite know how that works.
I think you had the Sunday tab checked off.
Oh.
When you
Okay.
changed it to 6 a.m.
Oh, you're right, Andrew. Thank you. So I've just done it for Sunday. So you have to do it day by day, but not like the first time around. If you're not using those flexible slots, you actually don't have to go day by day for the start and end time. But anyways, you get the idea. So if I wanted to set up, for example, let's say 3 o'clock on, what day is this? On Monday, I want to block this or set it up for something and make it a reoccurring block off time, I can do that. So this would block off this time. I can block it off for like however, I think for more. I think I can go more than 4 weeks. Maybe I can't. Up to 4. Oh no, repeat forever, I guess. Or for 4 weeks. I don't know. Just say we're going to do junior coaching time. So there's a bit of an ability to do a recurring. So that will be booked. So what have I on? It's a Monday. So if I go to the next Monday, it should be.
It won't be there because you set it to repeat every 4 weeks. So it'll happen once a month.
Oh. Oh, did I say every 4 weeks? Sure. Okay. Ah, okay.
Kathy's
is what-
just making sure we're paying attention.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay. Right. Sorry. I guess I've never picked that before. Every week, what I was trying to do is this. So to say end after 4 repetitions is what I was trying to say. So that one would be every week for 4 weeks. Okay. Anything else I wanted to show you about? We had a lot of questions last session about, charging for guests and, tracking membership types. So for example, only, full playing members can play during prime time and that type of thing. And I don't know, I do know that it can do that, but I'm not entirely sure how to demonstrate it. I've seen the demonstration myself. It's something to do with these payment codes. And I can add payment codes. And then there's all these rules where you match prices to various reservation types and different sports for that matter. And you can indicate prime time and members and link it to different member types. But this is why the reservation system is a whole separate, more in-depth training. But the flexibility is there to do it, but you have to set up all these codes and such to make it happen. And that's why you get support directly from Club Locker. I do want to quickly show you the reports. There's lots of them. I'm not going to obviously show them, but it's got most of the reports here anyways are to do with the reservations. The player summary shows things. It's hard to see because these columns are small, but in fact, what I did, hang on a second, I think I exported this report out to Excel so you could see it better. Can you see my, can you see this, or am I not sharing properly? Still on Club Locker. Yeah, just a sec. It's going to flip to this for a second. So just to give you an example, like this is so you've got number of lessons this player's taken, number of activities they've participated in, number of reservations last month, last 3 months, last 6 months. So you can just get an activity level by player, 12 months, payments for reservations. So it gives you an idea of activity by player and who's bringing you business, when they last logged in, etc. Okay, I'm going to go back to my other share. There we go. Okay, any questions about reservations that I may have to take back to Club Locker, but it's really good for us to hear the questions because it lets us know what the requirements are.
One question that I would have for us to maybe consider whether it's something we would switch to for the bookings is we have 2 courts that can be converted between squash and racquetball. Is there the ability, it helps us if we know what that booking is for, so that there's the potential that we can do the court conversion prior to the booking. Is there the potential to set up one particular court to have different potential uses?
I'm guessing yes. I mean, we would set up, so I mean, just to quickly, we would quickly go in and set up the sport, right? Which would be, let's just call it multi. right, for fun.
Okay.
I don't know what
Mhm.
I don't know what require a custom match type to book means, but you see, there's a few
Because
things
in
I
this
know.
case, some people that use the court when it's set up for racquetball, they're playing doubles racquetball. And some people might be using it for single squash.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know what? I have a feeling, let me just take that away, but I'm guessing the answer to that might be yes. Because I'm thinking you might be able to like set that court up, right? So that would be your multi-sport over here, right? You can imagine. And then when we make the booking, I bet you like there's a lot of different things we can do in terms of maybe picking a color or something. So I don't know. I bet you we could, but we can certainly find out for you for sure. So you just want the booking. So when the person's making the booking, they indicate on the booking what they're doing it for.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the court would be set up. Clearly, you can set up a multi-sport court, so there's no problem with that. Yeah, let me. I'm guessing yes, but I'll find out for sure.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on. I have a very, very quick little demonstration on the organized play, just to show you it's here. They consider organized play to be box, leagues, and ladders. So when I create a box, I'm not going to go through this because I think you'll get the idea. So I've created this box already. When I initially created it, what I did is like these players, so I created a registration link, sent it out to people. They responded, right? Their name gets listed down where it says registered player. And when it's the first time of a box, I get a little thing that says, do you want to just create your box automatically, right? And then it will just list people by ranking. And then after that, you can just add players and say, oh, I want to be in the box next month. Well, then you just go ahead and add them, right? So it's, I don't know, let's say Ross says, oh, I want to be in the box next month. So he's added to the list, right? And then when I create the new box, they get integrated into the box automatically. So all of that features there. If I want to go and, you know how inevitably it happens right after you've done the box, somebody says, oh, I forgot to sign up. Then you can just go in and just add them into the box, right? So let's just say it was her, and maybe actually we go, oh, probably actually she should have been in a higher box, so we move her up, right? So you've got the ability to drag and drop. If I want to just drop Ross in now, I can just drop him in here, right? So it's got some drag and drop capabilities. Other than that, it's pretty much a regular box. And then of course, once it's there, it appears to the users. Oops. Not the way I thought it was going to. Oh, I haven't published it, I guess. There we go. So it sort of appears to the user like this. And then you would enter your score, just as you would expect, right? So again, back to the benefits of all this stuff. If you use this internally, it's free, and then all the matches get rated. And then the ladder is pretty, I don't know, there's not much to the ladder, frankly. It's just basically a matter of, I've got my ladder. Sorry, I don't know why I'm jumping around here to the different, I got my ladder. So, and I manage it, and I just want to add people, and I add people to the ladder. So say I want to join this ladder if I'm not already on it, or Kathy Covington, I must already be on it. So now Kathy Covington, and then I can decide what position I want to put her in. So let's put her in third position, like that. So now when you're setting up the ladder, I guess I forgot to show that. there's some rules that you get asked about. Obviously, is it singles or doubles? How many positions can you challenge above somebody? What happens when it's not played? You know, all these things. So there's a certain number of rules that are set up, and I mean, I don't need to read them for you. You can see it, how it works. So then I guess whether or not non-members, the price, if you're charging for it through Sporty. So that's kind of really all there is to say about ladders and boxes. So I'm going to, any questions about that? No? Okay, then I'm going to switch. I'm actually going to switch gears again, and I'm going to get out of the live system because it is a live Squash Canada system. And I'm going to close everything down. And I'm going to move into a test system. Now this system, you know, Andrew, this is familiar to Andrew because he was involved in testing. This is the test system that was set up for some of us to just play around with some of the functionality. It's got no data, no ratings, no nothing in it. And, you know, people, weird names and stuff. But I'm going to just show you here how to, some of the league functionality. And you're going to see a little tiny bit of tournaments as well here as well. So I am now, Jim Snidel is the name attached to this administrator, and his club is called Club BC. Again, remembering this is all test. So I believe, yeah, we have some test leagues. So these would be in-house leagues. So because they're at the Club BC level, not at Squash BC level. So he's got some leagues going on. And so I'm just going to go and very quickly, without going through every single detail, create a new league. And it's going to start on the 23rd and it's going to end on at the end of August. So it's would be considered, oh. So I guess here it is, ongoing, because that's today. And obviously you can create logos and backgrounds and all that for all this. So then I go in and I add a division. So this is where a lot of the functionality is at the division level. So, so what's, I guess it could be Div 1 and, oops, and mixed gender. How are standings going to be calculated? There's a whole bunch of options. I'm not going to read them all here, but as you can see, pretty well every option that there's ever been for how, you know, determining who wins a night is all here. Let's just stick with, let's go 2 points for a win, 1 for playing. How to split a tie, right? So whether it's matches and points or just matches. Are we going to use it for rating calculation or not? So you can take a league, like if it's a beer league or something and people don't want ratings in there, you can take it out. You can say no. I don't quite know what some of these mean. These are all the dates. This is where you say how many people are in it. So if it's like how many people play each night, right? So this would be, so if it's 4 or 5, like I think, for example, VSL is 5. We're creating a singles league here. Is it 3 out of 5, right? So that's where you create a lot of your properties, if you will. So we go ahead and create, and so it's at the division level, which I found kind of weird to be at the division level, not the league level, but it is. So, and probably then you'd have to create, assuming each division in this league is the same, you go further. And then you just click on the division and then you would start adding your team. right? So, and that would be, if we've said to allow from, with just only within your club, it will only pull people from your club. And there's very few members of this club. So you can't, I mean, there's not much here. I'm not going to go through this. So it's pretty much, it's kind of like what we're used to with Sporty. Like the calculation of wins and losses and all that has got all the same flexibility as Sporty. The the scheduling of the scheduler seems a little lacking to me so far. It feels like you almost have to schedule the matches individually, like not the individual matches, obviously, but the, you know, like team one's playing team two. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit more cumbersome, possibly, in scheduling the matches. We'll see. And but other than that, it's pretty much similar what we're used to with Sporty. If we go and look at a league that I think I've got, this one, no, sorry. One of these I've got some teams in. So I got some teams. So here we've got a couple of teams and some matches coming up as well. So then if I drill into Kathy's Chargers, we can see results and standings, and should be, oh, and upcoming matches. So it's struggling a little bit because there's not a lot of data here, obviously, but I think you get the idea that it would absolutely support it, especially at the club level. I'm a little curious. I think Richard's going to have a bit of a hard time scheduling VSL, and I'm slightly worried about doing the Vancouver Doubles League, but I think we'll make it work. So a little bit now about tournaments. I'm just going to show you a tiny bit about tournaments. And I'm just going to go back here. So before you do anything, whether it's create a tournament or even create an event that people are going to pay for. So for example, let's say you're doing a coaching clinic, or I don't know, a junior coaching, something every Sunday night, there's going to be a junior coaching sessions. Anything that people really are signing up and paying for, those are called events, and you kind of establish the properties with this tournament accreditation. It's a bit odd, but anyways, this is where you'll see, I'll show it to you and you'll see some stuff. So you see here, you can either make it free or payments can be handled offline. So this is what I told you. Now, of course, right now we don't have a connection to a Stripe account, so everything's free. So let's just call this, I don't know, let's call it Kathy's Tournament. And tournament type, I don't really know. There'll be some options that will decide, I guess, what they are: doubles, singles, junior. I don't know what all the options might be, pathway, whatever it might be. We can set a date, a start date. Let's say it's starting on the 16th and ending on the 18th. That's fine. The early bird fees, I'm not going through all this, obviously, but regular fees, all the different fees, because this is where we are setting up the payment, who the director is. And then here's where you would set up all of your divisions, right? So every single option I think that you could ever imagine is already in here, because it's, again, supporting US squash as well. So you've got boys 1, 2, 3, 4, boys sing, and then you get girls, and then we get out of girls and we get into mixed. And and then here's our adults, all of our adult categories here. So then you would just basically say, so let's just say this is an adult tournament, and I'm just holding the control, so it's pretty easy to do this, and we can just go and add them all together. And I guess you'll see that they're starting to use the rating systems in tournaments, and there's so much. Did I pass the women's, or is it alphabetical? Women's Open. Why am I not seeing women's A, B? Must be there. Oh, here we are. right? So you can set draw size limits. That's a problem they have in the US. I think we'd all wish to have that. I mean, and there's a lot more to it than this, obviously, but this is actually, oops. I have to select a tournament type. And I need to acknowledge. And now I've got my tournament. But this is also the way, because this was a question that came up the other time, is how you would set up any events that you're paying for. So it's not just tournaments. So there's a type, which is just like a coaching clinic, which obviously has no draws, right? So that's sort of the functionality there. And then tournaments is a whole topic unto itself, which there's no way we're going to get fully into now. But one thing I have been assured, and I think it's pretty, is that the tournament functionality is from what is very strong. We're going to, I think, be very pleased with the tournament functionality. I feel it. I've heard that it's certainly a strength area for Club Locker. So I don't think we have to be worried about any of the functionality in that area. So that wraps up what I was going to show you. The idea is just to give you a little taste of it. Don't really want to go over the hour, but I can to handle any questions. So I'll open it up for questions. Is that no questions? Is that because hopefully not because I've confused you or bored you, but because we've covered everything so well?
Who will be imported into Club Locker?
Did you say who?
Yes.
Well, first of all, most of us are already there, right? But we're basically every Squash BC member. Who agrees to let us do that. So again, the permission email is going out quite soon. And if they give us permission to transfer their data to Club Locker, then we will do so.
And is that only people who have been active Squash BC members this past year?
No, sorry, very good question. No, it's everybody who's basically in the Squash BC database. Right, so they may have not, they may have been expired for the last 5 years, and that's a decision from that Squash BC is going to have to make. Certainly not active this year, because not very many people were active this year. How far back we're going is also a to be determined decision.
And Kathy, hi, it's Heather. Will individuals be opting in, or will a club be migrating everybody who we have affiliated with Van Lawn, for example, and we decide, or is it by the individual?
I'm glad you asked this question. It's by the, well, so the, something I haven't even talked about. What's being under development, the big thing that they did not have is the concept of bulk renewals, which is, I think, what you use, Heather, right? You give a list.
Yeah, exactly. Vic and I just go through the list,
Right.
like on the admin side, and then decide who to renew and who not to,
Right.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we are, actually that's been madly being developed so that it's supported. So it will just be the ones that, well, that's not true. I think, yeah, it will just be the ones, hang on, I have to think about this. Is it only Squash BC members? Like, there could be the odd scraggler, but it doesn't mean that they're Squash BC members, right? Like there could be somebody who, for example, let's say there's somebody. So first of all, to answer your question, Heather, the bulk renewal system hopefully is going to work exactly the way it does in Sporty. They're madly developing that. So you'll give us the list of people you want to renew, and that's who will go into the Squash BC system. Right. The question is, though, as an individual, they may still be there, just not members of Squash BC, and they're not able to enter tournaments or anything like that. Like, their name could theoretically, let's say you decide not to renew me next year, for example, right? My name will still be in Club Locker because I was a member 3 years ago.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking if an email goes to all Squash BC people, that would include most of our members, and then they might be wondering whether we're migrating them or they are, or what's happening.
That's a really good, we're going to have to work that out. I'm glad you raised this. Because the person would still be lying around, but they wouldn't be a Squash BC member. But I guess they could opt into Squash BC communications, which would then make them think they might be a Squash BC member. Yeah. Like for example, I could opt into US Squash communications. I'm not a US Squash member.
Right.
So we're going to have to work this out and maybe have more discussions about that, and certainly be clear about what it does and doesn't do.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I hate to be the one that's asking the bulk of the questions, but one thing that comes to mind with the discussion that you just had with Heather is I can see people that play at our facility who are not likely to be Squash BC members unless, I guess, the kind of recreational option is available and still allows them to participate in maybe box leagues and things like that. So does everybody that's in Club Locker need to be a Squash BC member if we are going to use Club Locker for in-house leagues or in-house tournaments?
No, they don't. Because you could be using it for your own membership, right? It's being available to you. They don't have to be Squash. If your club is a Squash BC member, you get access to the system and your membership. So your members do not have to be members of Squash BC, as long as you're a member.
Okay.
At the club level.
I guess what is the step that differentiates between those Club Locker users and what features they might have and have access to versus what they would be missing? Is it just being able to participate in Squash BC sanctioned tournaments and Squash BC sanctioned leagues?
Possibly. I mean, it's a good question, but my first thing is possibly yes. That might be the only difference. We're going to have to get clear on this, Rebecca. I mean, these are all really good questions. And I'm trying to even think what's the difference in Sporty HQ.
Yeah, I may be misunderstanding some of these questions, and apologies if I'm complicating things here. But sort of jumping back to Heather's question, if somebody is a member of Van Lawn but is not a member of Squash BC and has never been a member of Squash BC, then we wouldn't know that they're in your system. There's sort of separate affiliations. So someone could be tied to Van Lawn without being a member of Squash BC. So what we're migrating over is anybody who is a Squash BC member and affiliated with Squash BC. And then to Andrew's point as well, if a person had a Club Locker profile and was affiliated with YWCA but was not a Squash BC member, then they would still have access to the YWCA things that are happening, in-house stuff, but would need to become a Squash BC member should they want to register in a sanctioned tournament or something like that.
And then that's perfect, Rebecca. I think you answered that really clearly. And then though, I guess the only outstanding question related to Heather's question is how far back we are going to migrate. Like obviously last year was an indication of nothing, right?
Yeah.
So definitely the year before.
Yeah,
right.
You're right. I think it is still something that has not been finalized, but my initial instincts would be sort of the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And so what happens when somebody's a member at Jericho and a member at Van Lawn? Do they have 2 individual profiles? I know, Kathy, you kind of touched on that, but do they show up twice or do they have to pick who they're affiliated with?
No, neither. You can be affiliated with most like that. Actually, mine was probably a really good demo because this is my live system. Can you see it? Kathy
Yep.
Brown?
Yep.
Yeah. This is what it looks like without 2 Van Lawns, which is just an error.
Perfect. So it's more by the name and then, okay, perfect. That's great.
And then I have multiple affiliations.
Okay,
right?
good.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really great that way. And then I can be,
And do you choose those affiliations or are they chosen for you?
They're chosen for me because I'm a member of both of those clubs. So when Heather does her bulk renewal, she'll renew me and my affiliation with Vancouver Lawn, right? And ditto, actually, in Evergreen's cases, that's the same. So they're actually, in those two cases, Andrew, chosen for me. Now, in your case, because I don't think do bulk, you don't do that. Like your individual members just sign up on their own, then they would then affiliate themselves with YWCA or YMCA. Is it YW? YMCA? YWCA, sorry.
It's okay.
Right, so it's actually a little different. In the case of Evergreen and Van Lawn, they affiliate me as part of the bulk renewal. In your case, the individual, when they join Squash BC, would affiliate with you. And actually, my profile, you'll see my affiliations. There. Oh, I guess I can make one my main one. Ooh, Heather, you're my main.
All right. Yeah, I guess we wouldn't want like individuals signing up and affiliating with Van Lawn if they're not a member. So it's good if that's only done on the admin side so that they don't have access to like internal stuff, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All of Victor's proprietary genius ideas.
Yeah, keep them hidden. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? And thank you for the questions, because those are part of it. Frankly, part of the purpose of these sessions was also a run through for ourselves, just to know the questions that we're going to get. So we needed them.
Thank you for the overview.
You betcha. Okay, no more questions, so we're going to sign off. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.